Solo cleaning at 3 a.m. turned into a haunting love story no one saw coming. The clock ticked relentlessly. 3 a.m. It felt like the witching hour when shadows danced and the air turned thick with secrets. In the dim light of the flickering bulb, Ellie stood alone, broom in hand, heart racing. Silence wrapped around her like a tightly wound rope. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the old windows and forcing her to glance nervously around the empty room. Just yesterday, this was her sanctuary of solitude. Tonight, unease clawed at her stomach. Weird things had been happening since she moved into this creaky old apartment. Strange noises echoed through the hall's, thumps and whispers too faint to catch, yet loud enough to send shivers down her spine. Her friends laughed it off as a classic case of an old building settling. But deep down, Ellie felt there was more. Was something or someone lurking just out of view? As she swept, the dust motes floated like tiny mysteries in the spotlight. Each brush against the wooden floor creaked ominously, and Ellie's imagination spiraled into what might be hiding in the corners: a figure, a ghost, remnants of a life lived long ago. Her heart raced as she recalled the tales of a previous tenant, a woman who vanished without a trace. Just a story, she whispered to herself, but the lump in her throat told a different tale. Then, a strange chill washed over her. The front door creaked open, slowly, almost as if inviting something into her sanctuary. Ellie's breath caught. Had she left it ajar? No. She was sure she had locked it tight. Taking a cautious step forward, she dared to peek into the darkness beyond, her heart thudding louder than the wind outside. Just then, a shadow darted past. Was it her mind playing tricks, or was something real, something otherworldly, blending with her reality? Before she could lose her nerve, something sparked within her, a mix of fear and a crazy kind of excitement. This wasn't just a cleaning job anymore, it felt like the beginning of an adventure. An adventure that might lead her not just to the truth of the apartment but to uncovering the mysteries of the heart. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. With a deep breath, she steeled herself. Could she be brave enough to face whatever she might find? Butterflies swarmed her stomach. The echo of her own footsteps sounded heavy with uncertainty. As she turned slowly, the chill returned, this time accompanied by the faintest whisper, low and mournful. It sent tingles down her spine. Help me. The voice, though soft, held a desperate longing. Ellie hesitated, a mix of fear and curiosity flooding her mind. Who was calling for help? Before she even processed the question, the air grew electric, buzzing with an unspeakable energy, and the lights flickered violently one last time, leaving her in near darkness. Who or what had stepped into her life at that exact moment? The apartment's secret, she now realized, was about to unfold. The darkness settled around Ellie like a heavy blanket. Shadows shifted as her heart began a wild dance in her chest. Help me. The whisper echoed around her, reverberating off the walls and striking a chord deep within her. She couldn't decide whether to run or step closer. Tentatively, she moved forward, the wooden floor groaning beneath her feet. Her breath was shallow, and every inch felt like a journey through an unknown land. Who is there? She called, voice trembling slightly. Silence hung in the air, thick and oppressive. Just when she thought it had all been a figment of her imagination, a flicker of movement caught her eye, a shape slipping through the kitchen doorway, a glimpse of a figure that felt eerily familiar. Wait. The words spilled from her lips before she could stop it. She followed the shadow, propelled by an instinct she didn't quite understand. It led her into the kitchen, where the moonlight spilled through the window, illuminating the dust motes like tiny stars in an endless void. Is anyone here? She demanded, louder now. Whatever it was didn't he answer. A cold breeze swirled around her, almost playful but undeniably chilling, making the hair on her arms stand on end. She stepped further inside. The silence loomed larger, pressing in on her, then she heard it again. Help me. This time it was clearer, almost a desperate plea. Whoever or whatever was trapped in the clutches of this old apartment was aching for release or redemption, heart hammering. Ellie reached for the kitchen drawer, the cool metal handle sending a jolt through her fingers. She pulled it open. Inside lay a tattered notebook covered in dust. The pages were yellowed, frayed at the edges. It felt loaded with history, like it had been waiting for her. She could hardly breathe. As she flipped it open, words spilled across the pages, messages filled with longing, regret, and unfulfilled dreams. Each missive was signed simply with a name, Clara. Clara? Ellie whispered, the name settling over her like a cold touch, a shiver racing down her spine. She read an entry aloud, her voice shaky. I can feel him. I'm so close, but I need more time. A chill swept through her, chilling her bones. What had happened to this Clara? Why had she left these words behind? Ellie had to know more. She skimmed through the pages, absorbing them like a life raft in turbulent waters. Each line hinted at a love lost, a connection that transcended even the boundaries of life and death. Suddenly, the air shifted again. The kitchen lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced wildly on the walls. And then, the temperature dipped further, so sharply that Ellie could see her breath, tiny white clouds as uncertainty enveloped her. Ellie, the whisper came again, this time unmistakably. It was right next to her. Her heart jumped, pulse racing as she spun around. Nothing. Just the empty kitchen, filled with stories of a silent past. But was it really empty? What did Clara want from her, and how was she connected to this ghostly figure who seemed to have reached across time just to grasp her attention? As fear crept into her thoughts, Ellie realized something deeper lurked beneath the surface. Love, loss, and the ache of unfinished business seeped through the air around her. Clara's story was more than just a lingering spirit, it was an invitation to uncover the truth. And Ellie knew she would have to dive into the dark heart of it all to understand Clara's love story and what it meant for her own fate. But just as she resolved to follow the mystery of Clara's past, the front door burst open, slamming against the wall. A figure stood silhouetted against the harsh light of the hallway, the wind howling behind them. Ellie! Are you okay? It was Sam, her neighbor, eyes wide with alarm. She felt a rush of panic. The secrets of the apartment hung heavy in the air like smoke, and now she had to decide would she expose the truth to Sam, or keep the haunting tale buried deep. As the darkness surged around her, she felt a pull from both Clara's world and her own. Choices had to be made, but she had no idea how deep this mystery would go or how much danger lingered just beneath the surface. What awaited her beyond the shadows, and how would she face both Clara's past and her own uncertain future? The answers lingered tantalizingly close, yet just out of reach. Ellie felt a wave of relief wash over her at the sight of Sam, but just as quickly, a knot of anxiety tightened in her stomach. His concerned expression reflected back her own fear. Ellie, what is happening? You look terrified, he said, stepping further into the kitchen, brushing past the threshold that felt like a barrier now. I heard something, she stammered, her eyes darting to the open drawer where the notebook lay exposed. Something? What do you mean? Sam's brow furrowed. He started to investigate the dim corners of the room, as if expecting a tangible threat. There's a ghost. The words tumbled from her lips, and she felt ridiculous even saying it. But it was the truth, wasn't it? Clara's essence clung to the air, thick and suffocating. Her name is Clara. She needs help. Sam raised an eyebrow, skepticism dancing in his eyes. Ellie, come on. Ghosts aren't real. This is a bad joke, right? She shook her head, urgency building inside her. It's not a joke. Look, I found this. She seized the notebook and thrust it toward him. The pages fluttered in the chill that hung around them, as if Clara's spirit was trying to lend them significance. Sam hesitated, then took the notebook from her, flipping through the worn pages. Okay, but this? It's just an old diary, it's more than that. She's trapped here, Sam. I can feel it. As she spoke, the kitchen lights flickered again. This time it wasn't playful, it was malicious, like a pulse of anger reverberating through the room. Ellie, Sam said slowly, concern pooling in his eyes, maybe we should just go. We can talk about ghosts later. No. She blurted out, panic slipping through her defenses. What if she's in danger? I can't just leave her. Leave who? The question crashed into the fragile air between them, cutting deeper than a knife. Clara. Ellie's voice rose in desperation. This is her home. She can't rest. I need to help her. The light surged once more, then died. Darkness swallowed them, and Sam fumbled to turn on his phone's flashlight. The beam cut through the blackness, illuminating their frightened faces. What was that? Ellie could feel the weight of Clara's presence now, heavy and pleading. The air stung as if they were inhaling pure sorrow. She shivered, instinctively stepping closer to Sam. I don't know, but I think she wants us to find out what happened to her. Just then, a whisper, almost a sob, echoed through the pitch black, louder and more desperate than before. Help me! It felt like a plea from the depths of an abyss. Did you hear that? Sam's voice was barely a whisper now, a tremor lacing through it. I told you, Ellie replied, every hair on her body prickling with fear. That's Clara. Okay, let us say you're right. What do we even do? His practical mind struggled against the surreal nature of the moment, but something in his eyes softened, a flicker of belief igniting. I think we need to find out what she wants, Ellie said, determined. The notebook said she was close to something, she needs time. Maybe, but before she could finish her thought, a loud crash echoed from the living room, cutting through their fragile resolve. A frame of glass shattered, the sound sharp enough to freeze the blood in her veins. Ellie. Stay right here. Sam's voice was commanding, but uncertainty bubbled beneath the surface. He edged toward the sound, flashlight flickering. No. Wait, but it was too late. He was gone, swallowed by the tossed shadows beyond the kitchen doorway. Ellie stood frozen, heart racing, the chaos of Clara's story wrapping tighter around her. What do you want from us? She whispered into the dark, but Clara didn't answer. The air grew thick again, oppressive as a storm cloud, and Ellie knew she had to follow, to uncover whatever truth linked their lives. She stepped into the darkness, the haunting whisper calling her forward. Sam's flashlight beam flickered back into view, casting wild shadows, as panic twisted in her chest. The closer Ellie got, the more she felt Clara, the pull between their lives deepening, and in that moment, she realized the stakes were higher than she ever imagined. This was not just about Clara, this was about understanding love, loss, and the unknown that connected their existences, what awaited her in the shadows. As she took another step, she knew that whatever it was, it would change everything. In that suffocating darkness, Ellie braced herself. Would she uncover the truth? Or would she step into something far more dangerous than she ever anticipated? The air felt alive with tension as Ellie plunged into the living room, her heart pounding like a drum. Shadows danced grotesquely in the flickering light of Sam's phone. She needed to find him, to quell the gnawing dread tightening in her stomach. Sam! She called out, her voice barely rising above the whispers of the darkness. The room was cloaked in an unsettling quiet, broken only by the distant creaking of the old house. She strained to see past the furniture, her senses heightened, every corner tinged with danger. She took a few cautious steps, the cold wooden floorboards creaking underfoot. Glancing to her left, she spotted an overturned lamp on the floor, its shade crumpled. The small pool of light it had cast moments ago was now extinguished, leaving only uncertainty in its wake. "Sam!" Her voice came out louder this time, filled with a mix of fear and determination. "Where are you?" There was no answer, only silence and the unsettling brush of something unseen skimming her neck. It whispered through the air, chilling her skin. Ellie crouched down, her eyes scanning the dimly lit space, desperate to find any sign of him. Suddenly, a fleeting movement caught her attention, a flicker of light at the far end of the room. She ran toward it, heart racing, and as she reached the edge of the hallway, she saw Sam's phone flash again, revealing him standing stiffly with his back to her, directed towards something out of her sight. "Sam! What are you doing?" Ellie shouted, but her voice cracked, almost lost in the weight of tension that he turned slowly, his face drained of color, eyes wide and horrified. "Ellie, you need to see this." Cautiously, she stepped closer, peering over his shoulder. The wall in front of them was covered in an eerie glow. Words materialized on the surface, scrawling messily, as if written in a stream of panic. "Help me trap truth." Ellie's breath caught in her throat. Clara? Was this her doing? She took a step back, the mixture of fear and sadness crashing over her like a wave. Clara needed them to uncover her story, to release this anguished specter bound to the space they stood in. "No, this isn't happening." Sam's voice trembled, and he stepped back, but Ellie caught his arm. "Don't you see? We have to listen to her." Her words poured out, the urgency flooding back. She's reaching out for help. "We can't leave her like this." "I don't want to stay here, Ellie." Sam shouted, exasperation bleeding into his tone. "This is insane." But the moment hung thick with Clara's presence, the haunting whispers weaving tighter around them. The air shimmered an electric connection that hinted at deeper, darker truths, and then the whispers coalesced into a single voice, piercing through the fog of uncertainty. "Reveal the truth." A sudden gust of wind swept through the room, scattering papers across the floor. Ellie fought against it, clutching Sam's arm tighter. "Ellie, we need to get out." Panic etched itself into his features, but her gaze remained fixed on the words, glowing fervently. "Sam, listen. We can't abandon her." The heat pulsed through her veins as she leaned closer, pregnant with the urgency Clara had created. The air thickened with emotion, filling the silent spaces between them. Just as she was about to speak again, the lights flared violently, illuminating a face in the shadow, a figure looming from the darkness, ethereal, long lost yet painfully familiar. Ellie froze, terror gripping her. "Who are you?" she gasped, her voice trembling. The figure stepped closer, as if pulled by an invisible thread, and suddenly everything fell silent. The glow around them dimmed, but the weight of its presence remained, wrapping Ellie in haunting familiarity. "Finish it," the voice echoed in the room, shattering the stillness with an eerie finality. Ellie felt her breath hitch in her throat. What truth was buried here? What link existed between their worlds? I don't understand." She pleaded, but as soon as the words left her lips, a flicker of realization ignited within her. This wasn't just about Clara. It was also about the unspoken stories they all carried: love, grief, the very essence of connection binding them across time. The figure's expression remained locked in longing, a mirror of their own fears. What had they stumbled upon? As hope and uncertainty collided within her, Ellie knew they could not turn away now. "Sam, we have to find out what happened." She shouted, the urgency clear in her voice, but as her eyes returned to the wall, the words began to fade, a new message taking their place, and the dread that hung in the air thickened. "Find what you've lost. Hear my story." As night's grip tightened around them, Ellie felt the ground shift beneath her. One incorrect turn could lead them deeper into the abyss. Could they truly unveil the truth before it consumed them? In that breathless moment, the line between their existence and the spectral realm blurred, leading toward a revelation that promised to change everything. What secrets lay waiting in the shadows ahead? The weight of the room pressed upon Ellie as she tried to process the swirling words around her. Each flicker of the fading light seemed to pulse with her racing heart, a sinister reminder of the growing dread. Sam stood frozen beside her, fear clearly etched on his face, and it was in that moment Ellie realized they were straddling two worlds, the fading past of Clara's pain and the suffocating present filled with their own uncertainties. The figure before them shimmered like mist, its features just out of reach. As if sensing Ellie's internal struggle, it seemed to beckon her closer, urging her to release the secrets that sat heavy on her heart. "Ellie," Sam whispered, his voice low and trembling. "We can't trust it. We need to go." But could they really leave? Clara was reaching for them, her story whirling in the shadows, a story yearning to be heard. The air buzzed with possibilities, yet Ellie felt a deep-rooted fear knotting her stomach. "Wait, maybe we should try to look." Sam interrupted, his voice rising with panic. He pointed to the swirling darkness where the words danced, the air thickening with ghostly energy. "It's changing." The last vestiges of the preceding message faded into oblivion, and a new phrase emerged, fresh and urgent. "Love binds. Betrayal slices." Ellie's heart raced as the implications sank in. This was not just about Clara, it was about everything that had gone unspoken, including her and Sam. Their own connection lay on the brink of revelation, intertwined with the whispers of tragedy that filled the atmosphere. But how deep did this bond go? What had they concealed not only from each other but from themselves? What lay beneath the surface of their shared past? Just then, the figure floated closer, a sorrowful echo of what once was. "You must know the truth, for the past to unchain." Ellie shut her eyes briefly, recalling moments that flickered between them, shadows of lingering affection often overlaid by their own fears. "Sam. If we don't confront this, we risk losing everything, not just Clara's truth, but ours too." "I can't," he couldn't finish. Fear locked his voice, his body tense, but there was something in the air that felt almost sacred. A strange connection binding them to the haunting presence and the weighty secrets it kept. Driven by an urgent need for clarity, Ellie stepped toward the figure, the light intensifying, illuminating both her and Sam in its unwavering glow. "Please," she urged the apparition, "show us what happened. We want to understand." In response, the figure began to shimmer more brightly, long fingers sweeping across the wall where the words had once danced, revealing a delicate scene that began to unfold before their eyes, a flash of memories, a glimpse of love and betrayal stirring into being. Ellie's breath quickened as she recognized the faces flickering in and out of view, people she had seen in Clara's pictures, laughter frozen in time, gripping hands forgotten in their whispers. They were close, Ellie breathed, realization dawning. Something tore them apart. "Yes," the figure whispered again, its voice heavy with sorrow. "But you must decide. Will you confront the love that binds, or let the betrayal consume?" The room darkened again, shadows thickening around them, and Ellie felt a chill crawl down her spine. The stakes grew higher as the past materialized, promising both pain and clarity. And when the glow dimmed, the air felt sharper, the space charging with the echoes of their choices laid bare before them. "Sam, we can't back down now," Ellie breathed, determination flaring within her. "What if confronting this is the only way forward?" Just then, a loud crack rang through the silent splintering wood, a thundering echo of vulnerability. The house shivered, and tremors jolted through the floor as if reacting to their decision. What had they awakened? What darkness lay in waiting? "Ellie!" Sam shouted as he lost his footing, falling against the wall. Ellie barely caught him as the air pulsed with the energy of the unseen forces unleashed. As shadows lunged forward with unrelenting speed, she tightened her grip on him. "Hold on, Sam. We're going to face this together." With each passing second, the essence of Clara's plea intensified like a living thing. The unseen forces threatened to tear them apart, but Ellie felt fiercer than ever. They would unveil the truth, or the truth would consume them whole. In the depths of her soul, something shifted, a flicker of bravery igniting a fire within. Would it all be worth the risk? And what if the truth changed everything they thought they knew about themselves? Before they could brace for the impact of what was to come, the walls erupted around them, and the truth spiraled into chaos, beckoning them into a revelation unlike anything they could have possibly imagined. What awaited them in this tempest of memories and shadows? The air grew charged, heavy with anticipation and fear, as the walls trembled, buckling under the strain of secrets clawing to be unearthed. Ellie felt the pulse of her own heartbeat echoing in her ears, drowning out the chaos surrounding them. She held on tightly to Sam, who stared wide-eyed at the swirling mist that gathered, pulsating like a living entity. "Ellie, this is insane. We need to get out of here," he shouted, his voice trembling with desperation. But an overpowering urge to understand gripped her. "No. We're too close now," she insisted, squeezing his hand tighter as if their connection could anchor them against the unfolding horror. Moments later, a sharp, glass-shattering scream erupted from the darkness. The figure melded into the shadows, its anguished voice urging them onward. "The truth awaits, but the cost is great. Heartbreak holds key." What did it mean? The weight of the words sunk into her bones, her mind racing. Heartbreak. Love. Betrayal. The words twisted within her, threading through her thoughts like a tangle of vines pulling her deeper into a labyrinth of emotion. Was it Clara's heart that had broken? Or perhaps their own, as if in response, a vivid scene erupted from the darkness, colors swirling like paint on an artist's palette. A ghostly couple appeared, silhouettes of joy and despair merging and splitting, their faces indistinct but their emotions evident. They were in love, Ellie whispered, the memories sparking her own long-buried feelings. "They aren't just faces, Ellie. We can't get lost in this," Sam pleaded, eyes darting around, searching for an escape. She didn't know how to explain it, but they were indeed lost in a story steeped in grief and longing that felt eerily familiar. Shadows wrapped around her heart, squeezing until she gasped for breath. "We have to see it all. We owe it to Clara, and to ourselves." Just then, the couple's hands reached across the void, bridging the gap as their love flared into brilliance, only to dim once more with an unseen knife slicing through the bond. A deafening silence settled like a heavy fog. "What happened?" Ellie murmured. Suddenly, the scene shifted again, revealing Clara's tear-streaked face, her deep-set eyes pleading for understanding, for closure. "You have to see," she whispered, her voice brushing against Ellie's skin like a cold breeze. "No," Sam shouted, "it's pulling us too deep." But the energy was relentless, pushing against Ellie, forcing her to confront the truth buried in the shadows. "Tell us, Clara," she cried out, feeling desperate and brave all at once. "What do you want us to know?" A cacophony of half-heard whispers swirled around them. Bound by love, shattered by betrayal with a surge of intensity, the memories morphed again, revealing the moment of betrayal, an image of a friend, a fractured smile, a secret glimmering like a knife poised to strike. Ellie's heart raced, familiarity gnawing at her mind as realization set in. "Sam. This isn't just Clara's pain. This is ours." Before she could dive deeper into the realization, darkness erupted around them, swallowing the brightness whole. The air thickened with tension and dread as if the house itself had held its breath, waiting for revelation. "Ellie." Sam's voice was a frayed whisper against the unyielding chaos, but it wasn't fear she sensed in him now. It was confusion, a chatoyant mix of realization and fear that mirrored her own. "Stay with me. We need to break this cycle," Ellie shouted against the storm of energy swirling around them. The apparition surged closer, its form becoming more defined, a reflection of Clara born from pain and yearning. "You must understand what binds you or suffer the fate that binds us all," it warned, voice echoing like a distant bell tolling in the night. In that moment, Ellie felt the weight of their shared experiences, their hidden feelings, and the truth that slipped like sand through their fingers. Each flicker of Clara's pain ignited something deep within her, urging her forward. "Sam. We can't let this end badly. We have to fight for the truth." She Sensed the pull of darkness pushing at the edges of their connection that he looked at her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes, yet something raw and unresolved surged beneath the surface. Then we fight together, but how? As the shadows clawed at the edges of their reality, a frantic pulse thrummed between them. It was now or never, and Ellie could feel destiny tightening its grip on them. Amidst the tumult, would they embrace the truth? Or would they be consumed by the darkness lurking in their hearts? Just as the storm reached its apex, a blinding flash illuminated the room once more, revealing the pivotal moment they had to confront. What awaited them in the heart of Clara's turmoil? A blinding white light filled the space, pushing away the shadows and the swirling mist, momentarily providing clarity. Ellie blinked as the scene crystallized in front of her. Gone were the colors of despair. Instead, she found herself and Sam standing at the foot of a snowy, moonlit street. Glistening snowflakes danced silently around them, creating an ethereal scene that felt both beautiful and chilling. "Where are we?" Sam's voice wavered, filled with both wonder and dread. Ellie squinted into the distance. There, under the glow of a flickering street lamp, she recognized a familiar figure. Clara stood alone, her expression a mixture of sorrow and longing, her breath coming out in wisps of fog. It was as if they were witnessing a moment suspended in time, a memory unfurling before them. "Clara!" Ellie called out instinctively, but the sound of her voice was swallowed by the still night. Sam grabbed her arm, his grip tight. "What are we doing here? This is too real." But Ellie couldn't tear her gaze away. They were drawn to Clara, feeling the weight of her loneliness pressing in. The scene shifted subtly as silent energies swirled around them, and suddenly Clara's anguish materialized into a memory. A young man appeared beside her, his back turned. Ellie's heart raced. "Who is that?" As if hearing her thoughts, the young man turned. The familiar contours of his face sent a bolt of recognition through Ellie. "That's Jared," she breathed. Memories flooded back. Kate's boyfriend, the boy with the radiant smile and a dark secret. The very friend whose hidden betrayal had shattered Clara's heart. Ellie's body throbbed with a mix of emotions: betrayal, love, and pain intertwining like a well-worn tapestry. Clara loved him, she realized, but he betrayed her. Jared laughed, the sound an echo of youthful innocence before the deception, before the heartbreak. "You'll see, Clara. We can be happy if you let go," he said, his voice slipping through the chilly air, enchanted yet grotesque. Clara shook her head, tears freezing on her cheeks. "You came back for me after everything?" Her voice cracked, tremors of hurt swimming through her words. "It was a mistake," he insisted, stepping closer, attempting to bridge the chasm of their past. "We can start fresh. Just give me a chance." Ellie felt stuck in that moment, waves of Clara's heartbreak crashing against her own memories. She turned to Sam, desperation in her eyes. "It's repeating. We have to stop it." However, the scene around them darkened sharply. Shadows rampaged through the street, swirling like a storm of grief. "You must face it." Clara's apparition bellowed, her voice now fierce and unyielding. "You both must confront what binds you to your own betrayals." Fear gripped Ellie, stealing her breath. The moment pressed down like a weight. Would they be forced to unravel their own buried truths? "No. I won't let us be tangled in this." She clutched Sam tightly, feeling the pulse between them straining. "Ellie! Listen to her!" Sam shouted. "This is what we've been avoiding. We can't run away anymore." The shadows lunged, threatening to engulf them. History was pressing in, demanding recognition of love's dual edges, sharp and searing. Ellie's heart raced as she struggled against the darkness, the need to protect Sam swirling fiercely within. "Sam!" She breathed his name fiercely, panic rising. "If we dive deeper, what if we break? What if we get lost like Clara did?" But as she looked into his eyes, clarity flickered. "We have to face this together. It's time to confront our pain," he whispered fiercely. In an instant, the specter of Clara surged closer, her essence intertwining with theirs, reflecting the shadows of their own heartaches. Only then can you find solace together. As the storm around them raged, the weight of their tangled stories pressed down, pushing them closer to the edge. Would they dare dive headlong into the heart of Clara's turmoil to unearth their truth? A crack of thunder echoed, breaking the silence, awakening something deep within them. What awaited on the other side of their fears? What further truths might they discover in the depths of heartbreak? The shadows writhed like dark serpents, each flicker of cold light revealing the faces of pain and regret. Ellie felt herself being pulled toward a chasm she could hardly comprehend. Fear coursed through her veins, causing her to tremble at the thought of what awaited them. Ellie. Sam's voice sliced through her thoughts, filled with urgency. The answers are in that memory. Answers? She echoed, heart racing. But at what cost? Clara's spectral figure loomed large. You think you can hide from your truth? It's in the pain you try to forget. Her voice pierced the air, laced with desperation and fierce determination. Each word seemed to tear at Ellie, unraveling old wounds she had buried beneath layers of denial. Without considering their options, they stepped closer. The frozen air crackled with conflict, as if the night itself were holding its breath. Ellie glanced at Sam, searching for strength. Did he feel the gravity of where they were headed? Stay with me, she murmured, a plea wrapped in fear. As their hands clasped, the memories around them accelerated. Clara's anguish morphed into a burst of vivid colors, swirling together a desperate dance of love and heartbreak. Jared's laughter faded, replaced by Clara's sobs that echoed down the snowy street. Tension hung thick in the frigid air, each heartbeat resonating painfully against the silence. All at once, Ellie found herself inside Clara's memory, standing helplessly as the two shadows fought. You never cared about me. Clara screamed, her voice laden with sorrow. That's not true. I wanted to protect you. Jared retorted, his features marred by guilt. We were young and... Enough. Clara spat, pushing him away. Your lies hurt more than your truth ever could. Ellie felt the weight of Clara's betrayal wash over her, heavy and suffocating, as tears streamed down the forlorn girl's face. She wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but the pain felt too raw, too intimate. A wound Ellie had kept hidden. Can we change this? Sam asked, his voice shaky against the swell of sadness wrapping around them. Ellie shook her head, breath hitching. This isn't just Clara's story. It's ours, too. It's the past we've tried to ignore. The shadows shifted, compressing down into a single concentrated storm. It's time. Clara urged. Face the truth that binds you. The familiar weight of Sam's hand in hers brought a jolt of warmth, battling the cold surrounding their hearts. Together, he whispered fiercely, radiating strength, but as they pressed forward, Clara's figure shimmered, her agony abruptly morphing into desperation. What if you learn you're just as lost? Her voice sliced the air, filled with fear now instead of anger. What if you can't find your way back? The storm crashed around them, pushing Sam and Ellie to the edge of clarity and chaos. I can't lose you, Sam murmured, gripping Ellie's hand tighter. Then don't let go. Ellie felt a flush of determination overtake the despair, a grounding force pulling them into the whirlwind. We'll face this. We owe it to Clara and to ourselves. As they stepped forward, the tempest roared louder, and Clara's silhouette flickered like a dying flame. Ellie realized that every heartbeat echoed with their shared pain, a truth neither had acknowledged but that lurked beneath the surface. They weren't merely witnesses, they were part of a tapestry woven from betrayal, heartbreak, and the possibility of redemption. With every breath they took, they dove deeper into a sacred darkness. Their journey, which had only just begun, spiraled into the unknown. Would they emerge whole, or would the secrets they uncovered bind them in darkness forever? As the shadows began to fade, a deafening silence enveloped them. What came next could alter everything they thought they knew. The stillness pressed down on them like a heavy fog, thick and suffocating. Ellie shivered, her breath appearing in misty puffs, a reminder that they were still intertwined in Clara's haunting memory. Sam's grip on her hand felt grounding, but the uncertainty of where they were headed sent tremors of fear racing through her. "Can you feel it?" Sam asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Something's changing." Ellie nodded, trying to lock her focus on Clara's fading silhouette. "It's like we're being pulled in different directions. This isn't just a memory, it's a reckoning." Suddenly, the scenery around them twisted. The snowy street melted away, warped by ethereal wisps of shadow. The air vibrated with Clara's sobs, blending into whispers that curled around Ellie's mind, fragments of unspoken words and secrets nearly forgotten. "Jared," Clara breathed, a ghostly echo in the shivering silence. "What I did, it was survival. I thought it was for the best." "Clara," Sam said, his voice strained. "What does that mean?" The shadows flared, revealing a younger Clara, her face streaked with tears under heavy snowfall, so close yet so heartbreakingly distant. Ellie's heart pounded. She was watching history replay, but the truth weighed more with every passing moment. "Let us not just watch." There was urgency in Sam's tone, a plea wrapped in courage. "We need to become part of this. We can't let her suffer alone." Ellie's resolve hardened. "Okay. I'm ready." With determination, they pushed forward, the memories swallowing them whole. In an instant, they found themselves standing beside Clara, who was crumpled on the cold ground, her sobs resonating in the bitter morning air. "Clara!" Ellie shouted, but her voice was swallowed by the noise of the storm brewing inside the memories. Startled, Clara turned, her eyes wide with confusion. Who are you?" "It's us, Ellie and Sam," Ellie replied, stepping closer. She could almost feel Clara's pain radiating off her like heat from molten iron. "We're here to help you. You don't have to face this alone." But the moment of clarity shattered as Jared's figure materialized, anger brewing like a frigid wind around them. "What help could you possibly offer?" he shouted, his voice laced with resentment. "You're tied to her mistakes, unraveling the past won't change a thing. It only makes it worse." He lunged forward, and Ellie felt a sharp sting in her chest, a reflection of Clara's own regret. "Stay away from her!" Sam yelled, the protectiveness in his voice palpable. "You think this is just about you?" The shadows twisted around Jared, their dark tendrils creeping closer to Sam and Ellie. "You have your own fears to face. You're just as lost." Ellie's chest constricted. Was it true? Were they destined to walk this narrow path of chaos and heartbreak forever? They had come to help Clara, but the darkness gnawed at their resolve. "No!" Ellie shouted, the force of her voice surprising even herself. "We will break this cycle together." She squeezed Sam's hand tighter, drawing strength from him, refusing to yield to despair. As the shadow storm erupted around them, transforming into a swirl of voices and fury, Ellie could see Clara staring, a silent plea etched on her face. Their eyes locked, a bridge of understanding forged from the grief binding them all, then it hit her like a lightning bolt. "Clara, your truth is still alive. You can't give up." The shadows peeled back like an onion, revealing sparks of light, small glimmers of hope wedged between jagged memories. What if it isn't too late? Clara's voice trembled, her faded figure brightening, a spark igniting amid the tempest, but before they could resolve the moment, a blinding flash engulfed them, and Ellie felt herself being pulled apart once more, a rush of memories tearing at the seams of her mind. "What comes next is your choice." Clara's voice echoed through the void, a haunting reminder, and as darkness threatened to consume them all over again, they could only wonder, would they have the strength to face their own truths, or would they be lost forever in the shadows? The world shimmered as Ellie fought to stay grounded, tethered by the shared warmth of Sam's hand. Memories spun around them in a frenzied cyclone, each fragment carrying the weight of heartbreak, yearning, and a desperate plea for freedom. The air crackled, alive with hushed whispers and anguished cries, echoing Clara's pain. "Ellie!" Sam's voice broke through the sudden chaos, fierce and determined. We have to break this cycle. For Clara. For ourselves. Tremors rolled through the shadows swirling at their feet, but Ellie stood firm, heart pounding, sparking a flicker of resolve within her. We can't let her suffer alone. We need to show her that love can survive, even in the midst of loss. The shadows grew heavy, and Clara's silhouette wavered before them, caught in the tempest of her own memories. Through the chaos, Ellie whispered, "Clara, tell us what you need. We're here to listen." In the swirling chaos, Clara's voice emerged, breaking through like a soft melody amidst a storm. "You must embrace your truths. Confront the shards of your own heart. Only then can I be free." Suddenly, a blinding light enveloped the room, and Ellie felt herself pulled into another memory, a vivid moment imbued with all the essence Clara had once held. The radiance faded, revealing Clara standing alone in a snow-covered street, her breath rising like smoke in the icy air. Jared appeared once again, his familiar smile juxtaposed against an unseen tension that crackled in the atmosphere. "You can't escape me forever, Clara. We have unfinished business." Jared's voice dripped with resentment as he loomed over her, the shadows flaring ominously. "Stop!" Ellie shouted, the urgency pushing her to the forefront. "You need to see where your choices led. This isn't just about you anymore." Jared hesitated, his figure rippling as if caught between dimensions. "Then what do you expect me to do?" he demanded, anger simmering in his tone. "Face the consequences of what I did." "The past isn't set in stone," Sam interjected, the strength in his voice rising like a beacon. "You can rewrite your future." Clara's gaze darted between them, bewildered but hopeful. "If I can let go of the pain, maybe there's a way to find peace." Ellie could feel the weight of those words settling like a blanket around them. "You must forgive yourself, Clara. Healing is about facing your demons, not hiding from them," she urged, stepping closer to Clara, the warmth radiating from her unwavering belief. The storm around them gusted violently, swirling memories threatening to engulf them all, but Ellie pressed on, fueled by an unyielding sense of purpose. "You can face this together. Love can shine through. It can forgive." Suddenly, the shadows around them shifted, revealing the heart of Clara's turmoil. Memories unfolded like a film before her, vibrant yet drenched in sorrow. There were moments of joy and laughter, but accompanied by darkness that lingered like a foreboding shadow over Clara and Jared's love. "You chose to betray Clara," Ellie faced Jared, eyes ablaze with determination, "and it mattered. But holding on to guilt will only drag you both down. You have to acknowledge your pain." The shadows screeched at this revelation, twisting in silence as Clara's whispers transformed into haunting echoes of the past, pleading for recognition and release. "Forgive him, Clara. It'll set you free. You won't heal by keeping your heart in chains. You have to confront him, yes, but also yourself." As Clara's tears fell like raindrops on winter's chill, something within her seemed to flicker with hope. "I can't forget the sting of betrayal. But how do I forgive?" Ellie smiled gently, "By embracing the memories even if they pain you. Love doesn't always mean perfection. It means understanding and moving on." A swirling wind swept through the moment, the shadows swirling furiously as Clara's figure flickered, the very light of her spirit threatening to fade. "You're right. I can't run from this anymore," she said, voice steadying. "I need to confront Jared, not simply out of anger but for healing." In that split second, the vignette shifted again. Clara faced Jared, icy resolve etched across her features. "I loved you, but you betrayed me, and I need to say goodbye." The emotions exploded within the space, palpable and fiery. An avalanche of realization swept over Ellie, a distinct line between loss and love glimmering as they witnessed a pivotal moment. "I'm sorry," Jared whispered, his voice quaking. "It was wrong. I was young and foolish." Clara stepped closer, determination blazing in her eyes. "We each carry scars. But I refuse to let them define me anymore." Light broke through the clouds, Clara's silhouette grew stronger, brushed with hues of warmth. I forgive you, but I can't hold on to this pain. I have to reclaim my life. With those words punctuating the solemn air, the storm erupted, shadows dissipated, and the anchor of pain broke free. Clara began to shimmer, each hue brighter than the last, a reflection of the freedom coursing through her spirit. We'll carry your stories with us, Sam's voice rang clear, tinged with love. But we'll also create new paths for ourselves. The moment Clara's essence reached its pinnacle, she beamed with hope, radiant like a star lighting the way in an endless night. Thank you, Clara vowed, her voice firm yet soft. You freed not just me, but yourselves too. And as the darkness faded from sight, Ellie and Sam felt a rush of warmth envelop them, a tether forged not simply in mystery, but in the pursuit of truth. Hand in hand, Ellie and Sam stepped forward, hearts lightened, knowing they had faced their shadows and unearthed their own truths along with Clara. They would embrace love, loss, and the uncertain beauty of tomorrow, illuminating paths yet to come. As Clara's form transformed into a gentle glow, she whispered her final farewell, live fiercely. Love deeply. Remember me, but don't linger. They stood together free, but forever changed by the spectral journey binding them in the tapestry of love, loss, and the ever-fleeting threads of memories. Everything had shifted in that timeless moment beneath the weight of the past, and they both realized as they emerged back into the present, that true love never truly fades. It echoes in the heart, guiding us forward, and with that, the shadows dissolved, leaving only the warmth of connection, the truest form of love. That I hope you loved this story just as much as I loved sharing it. But before you go, here's the deal, you need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on the next exclusive tales waiting for you. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep our community growing. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the twists. Your thoughts mean everything. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. Your support shapes our future stories. Let us keep this amazing journey together.